The alien exploration ship hovered above the barren moon, its engines humming quietly in the thin atmosphere. 5 different species made up the crew, each with their own reason for joining the Galactic Survey mission. Dr. Ji-won Park stood at the observation window, her dark eyes fixed on the readings from the surface scan. "Life signs detected," she announced to the bridge crew. "Something big." Captain Tae-hyun of the human contingent joined her at the console. "How big are we talking?" "About?" "Very," Ji-won replied, adjusting the scanner. "About 20 meters long, and it appears to be in distress." The landing party consisted of representatives from each species: a tall, blue-skinned Vorsian scientist named Mrek, 2 insectoid Teklins, a crystalline Merudian, and 3 humans, Ji-won, Tae-hyun, and their medical officer Somin. When they found the creature, everyone fell silent in awe. It lay sprawled across a rocky outcropping, its massive scaled body rising and falling with labored breaths. It resembled an earth dragon from ancient myths, but with 6 limbs and iridescent scales that shimmered weakly in the dim light. "Incredible," Ji-won whispered, approaching slowly. "A living Kavari." "You know this species?" Mrek asked his translator, device converting his musical language. "Only from ancient records. They were thought extinct for 10,000 years. The Kavari's eyes, large amber orbs with vertical pupils, tracked their movement. One enormous wing twitched, then fell limp. Somin scanned the creature with medical equipment. Her face grew grim as she read the results. Multiple organ failure. Some kind of degenerative condition. She looked up at the team. "It's dying." The Vorsian scientist made a clicking sound. "Unfortunate, but nothing can be done. We should document it and continue our mission." "We can't just leave it," Ji-won protested. "Dr. Park," Mrek said coldly, "our mission is to survey this system, not attempt impossible medical procedures on a doomed specimen." The argument lasted hours. Back on the ship, the alien contingents unanimously voted to leave the dragon behind. They would file a report, perhaps send a research team later to examine the body. "We depart in 12 hours, the ship's commander announced. Ji-won stood before Captain Tae-hyun in his quarters, her stance firm. "I request permission to stay behind, with the creature." "By yourself?" Tae-hyun asked in surprise. "For how long?" "Until a human research vessel can reach us. I've already sent the request to Earth Command." Tae-hyun sighed. "The Vorsians will see this as typical human sentimentality." "Let them," Ji-won said. "I won't abandon a sentient being to die alone." The next morning, Ji-won and Somin unloaded supplies from the ship. The captain had assigned Somin to stay as well, at least until the research vessel arrived. "You named it already?" Somin asked, seeing Ji-won's notes. "Suho," Ji-won replied. "It means guardian in Korean. You don't know if it's male or female or neither. I know it needs our help," Ji-won said simply. They set up a field laboratory and shelter near the dragon. Suho watched them with intelligent eyes, but made no threatening moves. Its breathing seemed to worsen by the hour. On the 3rd day, Ji-won noticed something. When she spoke to Suho, the dragon's pupils dilated slightly. She began to talk to it regularly, telling it about Earth, about humans, about anything that came to mind. "I think it understands me," she told Somin. "That's impossible. We don't share any biological or evolutionary history." But that evening, when Ji-won approached with water and nutrient solution, Suho made a low rumbling sound and moved its massive head toward her, just slightly, but unmistakably deliberate. A week later, the human research vessel arrived. Instead of the small science team Ji-won expected, 20 specialists disembarked, led by Dr. Youngjae, Earth's foremost xenobiologist. "Earth Command is very interested in your dragon," he explained. "The Kavari were technology creators before. They disappeared, if even one survives." Ji-won nodded. "But first we need to save it." That night, as the research team set up their equipment, Ji-won sat beside Suho. The dragon's breathing had stabilized slightly with the treatments they'd started, but its condition remained critical. "I know you understand me," she said softly. Everyone else gave up on you, but we humans are stubborn. We don't walk away from those who need us. Suho's great eye fixed on her face. Then slowly the dragon extended one claw and drew a simple pattern in the dust. 3 connected lines. Jiwon gasped. "Somin! Youngjae! Come quickly!" she called, her voice echoing across the barren landscape. "It's trying to communicate." Jiwon stared at the 3 connected lines Suho had drawn in the dust. Dr. Youngji bent down beside her, his eyes wide with amazement. "This is incredible," he whispered. "Deliberate communication." Over the next few days, the human research team transformed the barren area around Suho into a makeshift research station. They brought specialized equipment, medical supplies, and constructed a shelter that could withstand the moon's harsh temperature swings. Suho watched them work with alert eyes. The dragon still struggled to breathe, but seemed stronger with each passing day. The treatments Somin administered helped manage the pain, but they were still far from finding a cure. Jiwon spent most of her time with Suho. She noticed that the dragon responded to certain sounds and light patterns. One evening, she brought a panel of colored lights to Suho's side. "Let's try something," she said softly. 1 blink means yes, 2 blinks means no. She turned on a blue light. "Is this comfortable for your eyes?" Suho blinked once, slowly, and deliberately. Jiwon's heart raced. "Are you from this moon originally?" 2 slow blinks. By morning, Jiwon had created a basic dictionary of light signals. Red for danger or pain, blue for agreement, yellow for questions. She taught the system to the other researchers who were skeptical at first. "Dr. Park is onto something," Youngjae told the team after watching Jiwon and Suho interact. "This creature isn't just intelligent, it's highly advanced." They developed a more complex communication system using combinations of lights, sounds, and simple drawings. Suho learned quickly. After 2 weeks, they made a breakthrough. "Suho says it came here in a ship," Jiwon announced to the team one evening. "It crashed over 300 years ago." 300 years? Dr. Hyunjin, another researcher, looked shocked. "How old is this creature?" Through their primitive communication, they learned that Kavari could live for thousands of years. Suho was young by their standards, only 800 years old. The dragon explained that the Kavari were once numerous across the galaxy but had slowly disappeared. "Are there others like you?" Jiwon asked through the light panel. The answer came slowly. Suho didn't know. It had been alone for centuries. 1 month after the human team arrived, a Galactic Council ship appeared in orbit. Representatives from the Vorsians, Teklans, and Merudians demanded to inspect the human operation. "We heard you're still wasting resources on the dying creature," the Vorsian delegate said as they toured the facility. "Suho is improving," Jiwon replied firmly, "and we've established communication." The alien delegates scoffed until Jiwon demonstrated their system. Suho performed flawlessly, answering complex questions about stellar navigation that left the visitors speechless. "The Kavari were considered myths," the Merudian representative whispered. "Stories told to children. This one is very real," Youngjae said, "and worth every resource we've committed." After the delegation left, promising to report back to the council, Jiwon sat alone with Suho. The dragon seemed tired from the demonstration. "You did well today," she said, placing her hand near Suho's massive snout. To her surprise, the dragon gently moved its head forward until her palm rested against its warm scales. The connection Jiwon felt in that moment was unlike anything she had experienced before. A bridge across species, space, and time. That night, Suho's condition suddenly worsened. The dragon's breathing became shallow and its scales lost their luster. "The parasite is spreading," Somin said grimly, checking her readings. "We need to try something more aggressive." They worked through the night. When all their treatments failed, Jiwon made a desperate decision. She remembered something Suho had communicated days earlier about Kavari healing methods involving specific frequencies of light. "Let me try something," she said, pushing past the exhausted medical team. Jiwon programmed a sequence of light pulses based on Suho's earlier descriptions. As the lights played across the dragon's body, its breathing steadied. By morning, Suho had stabilized again. The dragon used their communication system to share more information about its biology. Suho says the Kavari can heal themselves, Jiwon told the team, but whatever is affecting it blocks this natural ability. News of the dragon spread across human colonies. More scientists requested to join the team. Equipment and supplies arrived daily. 6 weeks after their first communication, Suho managed to stand for the first time since they'd found it. The massive dragon rose shakily to its feet, towering over the human team. Instead of fear, Jiwon felt only wonder. That evening, using their now sophisticated communication system, Suho shared something that changed everything. "I am not the last," the dragon conveyed through patterns of light. "Others sleep, far away, waiting." Jiwon looked up at the stars visible through the dome of their research station. "Then we'll help you find them," she promised. The research station had grown into a small settlement. Domes of white and clear material dotted the lunar landscape. Inside the largest dome, Suho moved carefully among equipment designed for beings much smaller than a dragon. The Kavari had gained enough strength to move around for short periods, though it still tired quickly. Jiwon sat at her desk, examining samples through a microscope. She hadn't slept in nearly 20 hours. Her eyes burned, but she refused to stop. Something in Suho's blood had changed. "Look at this," she called to Soman, who rushed over. "The cells are fighting something." Soman peered into the microscope and gasped. "That's not just any infection, those are parasites." They called an emergency meeting of the research team. 20 humans gathered in the conference room as Jiwon displayed the magnified image on the main screen. "These parasites have been dormant in Suho's system for centuries," she explained. "Something woke them up recently." Dr. Youngjae studied the images carefully. This could be why the Kavari disappeared. Not extinction, but a plague. That night, they shared their discovery with Suho. The dragon's eyes widened in recognition. Through their communication system, Suho confirmed that many Kavari had fallen ill before the species scattered across the galaxy. "Can you help me?" Suho asked, through light patterns. "We'll try," Jiwon promised. The team worked non-stop for days. They isolated the parasite and studied how it attacked Suho's cells. They tried various treatments, but nothing worked permanently. Each time they killed some parasites, the survivors seemed to adapt. 2 months into their research, a message arrived from the Galactic Council. A hologram of the Vorsian delegate appeared in the command center. "The Council demands an update on the Kavari situation," the blue-skinned alien stated. "Resources are being diverted from other missions." "We've identified the cause of Suho's condition," Youngjae reported. "A parasite that may have affected the entire Kavari species." "And the creature's prognosis?" Youngjae hesitated. "We're still working on a cure." The Vorsian's face showed no emotion. "The Council is reconsidering the value of this project. You have 30 days to show significant progress or funding will be redirected." After the transmission ended, the mood in the station grew tense. 30 days wasn't much time. Hyunjin, who had been studying human stem cells, suggested a new approach. "What if we modify our own cells to fight the parasite? Humans have different immune responses than most species." They created a treatment, using modified human stem cells. Initial tests looked promising. When they administered the first dose to Suho, the dragon's condition improved dramatically. Its scales brightened, and its breathing became stronger. For 5 days, Suho continued to improve. The dragon was able to fly short distances within the largest dome. The team celebrated cautiously, sending positive reports to Earth and the Galactic Council. On the 6th day, everything changed. G1 was asleep when alarms blared throughout the station. She rushed to the medical dome to find Suho thrashing, in pain. The dragon's temperature had skyrocketed, and its scales had dulled to a sickly gray. "The parasites are adapting," Somin shouted over the alarms. They're using our treatment against Suho's system. For 3 days they fought to stabilize the dragon. Suho slipped in and out of consciousness. During one lucid moment, the dragon used their communication system to share something important. Fire inside, Suho signaled weakly. My kind. Heal, with inner flame. What does that mean? Jiwan asked. But Suho had fallen unconscious again. As Suho's condition worsened, another message arrived from the Galactic Council. This time, the Teklan representative spoke. The Council has received your reports of setbacks, the insectoid alien stated. We are ordering the termination of the project. The resources would be better used elsewhere. You can't do that, Jiwan argued. We're making progress. The decision is final. A ship will arrive in 3 days to dismantle the station. After the transmission ended, the human team gathered in silence. They had come so far only to face failure. That night, unable to sleep, Jiwan sat beside the barely conscious dragon. She noticed something strange about Suho's blood sample under the microscope, a unique enzyme that seemed to react when exposed to the light. She rushed to wake Hyunjin. Together they ran more tests and made a startling discovery. Suho's inner flame wasn't metaphorical. It was a biological process that produced intense heat and light in a special organ near the dragon's heart. The parasites are sensitive to this specific frequency of light and heat, Hyunjin realized. That's why they remained dormant for centuries until this organ began to fail. As dawn broke over the lunar landscape, Jiwan gathered the team. I have a plan, she announced, but it's dangerous, and we only have 3 days before the council arrives. She looked through the window at Suho's massive form. We need to reignite the dragon's inner flame. Jiwan stood before the team in the main research dome. Outside, through the clear ceiling, the stars shone brightly against the black sky. 3 days. That was all the time they had left. Suho's inner flame organ is located here, she said, pointing to a 3D model of the dragon's chest. It's not working properly. We need to stimulate it directly. How? Soman asked, her face pale with worry. That area is surrounded by tissues that can reach 500 degrees when active. I'll go in, Jiwan said simply. With a protective suit. The room erupted with objections. Youngjae stepped forward. That's too dangerous, Jiwon. No suit we have can withstand those temperatures for more than a few minutes. Then I'll work quickly, she replied. They argued for hours, but in the end, they had no better ideas. The clock was ticking. Suho grew weaker by the hour. Hyunjin modified their best heat-resistant suit, adding extra layers of protection. This will buy you maybe 10 minutes, he warned. After that, the systems will fail. 10 minutes will have to be enough, Jiwan said. They mapped out the procedure carefully. Jiwan would enter through Suho's mouth while the dragon was sedated. She would carry a specialized device designed to jump-start the flame organ with a targeted electrical pulse. As preparations continued, a message arrived from Earth. The human leaders had heard about the Galactic Council's decision and were sending their own ship to support the team. But it wouldn't arrive for 5 days. Too late to stop the council representatives. The morning of the 3rd day, everything was ready. Suho lay unconscious, but stable. The dragon had been briefed about the plan before sedation and had given its consent through their communication system. Jiwan put on the protective suit. The material was thick but flexible, with coolant systems running throughout. A helmet with a clear face shield completed the outfit. Remember, Soman said as she checked the suit seals. If the temperature warning reaches red, you get out immediately. No heroics. Jiwan nodded. I'll be careful. The team gathered around Suho's massive head. They had propped open the dragon's jaws, creating a passage large enough for Jiwan to walk through. Heat radiated from inside, even with Suho unconscious. Vital, signs are stable. Youngji reported from the monitoring station. You have a clear path to the target area. Jiwan took a deep breath and stepped between the rows of sharp teeth. Inside Suho's mouth, the temperature jumped instantly. The suit's cooling system hummed louder. She walked carefully down the throat. Passage, following the path they had mapped. The walls pulsed slightly. Suho's heartbeat. The heat increased with each step. "Temperature at 300 degrees, came Hyunjin's voice through her helmet. "You're approaching the junction." Jiwon saw it ahead, a branching passage. One way led to Suho's lungs. The other led to the flame organ. She turned right into increasing heat. "100 degrees, Hyunjin warned. 5 minutes of protection left." The passage opened into a chamber with walls of deep red tissue. In the center sat what looked like a dark, cracked crystal about the size of a human head. This was the flame organ, the source of a Kavari's fire. Jiwon moved quickly. She attached the device to the crystal surface and activated it. Electrical pulses began stimulating the organ. "Nothing's happening," she reported, watching the readouts. "The organ isn't responding." 450 degrees, came the warning. 3 minutes left. Sweat poured down Jiwon's face inside the helmet. The suit was reaching its limits. She thought desperately, then remembered something Suho had communicated earlier. "Light," she muttered. "It needs light to start." She reached for the high-intensity flashlight on her belt and aimed it directly at the crystal. The beam struck the surface and refracted inside the organ. For a moment, nothing happened. Then a spark appeared deep within the crystal. It grew, quickly spreading throughout the organ. The temperature jumped drastically. 500 degrees. "Get out now," Hyunjin shouted through the comm. Jiwon turned and ran. Behind her, the chamber filled with orange light as the flame organ awakened. The heat was incredible. Warning alerts flashed inside her helmet. The coolant systems were failing. She sprinted through the passage, feeling the suit materials beginning to melt in places. The throat passage seemed much longer going back. Finally, she saw light ahead, the open mouth. With a final burst of energy, she leaped out and collapsed on the laboratory floor. The team rushed to remove her helmet and the failing suit. "Suho?" she gasped as Soman checked her for injuries. Youngji pointed to the monitoring station. "Look." The dragon's vital signs were changing rapidly. The body temperature rose, then stabilized at a higher level than before. The heart rate strengthened. Slowly, Suho's eyes opened. The amber orbs were clear and bright for the first time since they had found the dragon. The scales across its body began to glow with inner light, shifting from dull gray to brilliant blue and gold. "It's working," Hyunjin whispered in awe. That afternoon, as the team treated Jiwon's minor burns, an alert sounded. A ship was entering orbit. The Galactic Council representatives had arrived, but they were too late. When they entered the main dome, they found Suho standing tall, wings extended, scales shimmering with health and vitality. "Welcome," Jiwon said, with a smile, her arm in a light bandage. "We'd like you to meet a fully recovered Kavari." The Galactic Council representatives stood frozen in the entrance of the main dome. The Vorsian's blue skin had paled to a light aqua. The Teklan's antennae twitched rapidly. The crystalline Meridian seemed to shimmer with surprise. Before them stood Suho, fully restored to health. The dragon's scales gleamed with colors that shifted like oil on water, deep blues, golds, and purples that rippled with each breath. The massive wings stretched nearly wall to wall, strong and whole. "Impossible," the Vorsian whispered. "Our scans showed terminal decline." Jiwon stepped forward, her arm still bandaged from the burns. "Humans don't accept impossible very easily." News of Suho's recovery spread quickly through the galaxy. Ships began arriving daily. Scientists, diplomats, and curious visitors from dozens of species. The small research station had to expand rapidly to accommodate them all. 1 month after the recovery, Jiwon sat with Suho in the special dome they had built for the dragon. Their communication system had evolved beyond the simple light patterns. Now they used a complex interface that translated Suho's thoughts directly into words. "The parasites are completely gone," Jiwon said, checking the latest test results. "Your immune system destroyed them once your flame organ reactivated." "Thanks to you," Suho's translator displayed. "Your kind risked much for one unknown creature." "That's what humans do," Jiwon replied with a smile. "We're stubborn like that." In the weeks that followed, Suho shared knowledge that had been lost for millennia. The Kavari had once been teachers and explorers, with technology far beyond current galactic standards. They had visited Earth thousands of years ago, which explained why dragon myths appeared in so many human cultures. But where are the others? Young Jay asked during one session. You mentioned they might still exist. Suho's great head nodded slowly. When the sickness began, many Kavari entered deep sleep in hidden places. I was a guardian, meant to stay, awake and watch. But my flame began to fail and my ship crashed on this moon. The dragon activated a holographic display using technology built into its scales, another surprise for the research team. A star map appeared, with several points marked in red. Here, Suho indicated. These are places where others might sleep. The Galactic Council called an emergency session. Representatives from all member species gathered to discuss the implications of Suho's recovery and the possible existence of more Kavari. Humans, once considered a minor species in galactic politics, suddenly found themselves at the center of attention. The Council proposes a joint mission, the Vorsian High Chancellor announced, to locate and revive the remaining Kavari using the methods developed by the human team. With human leadership, added the Teclan representative, surprising everyone. Your species has proven uniquely qualified for this task. A special ship was commissioned, larger than any previous exploration vessel. It would carry representatives from multiple species, with humans forming the core team. Suho would travel with them, guiding the way to the hidden Kavari sanctuaries. The night before they were scheduled to depart, Jiwan stood alone on a viewing platform, looking up at the stars. So much had changed in the months since they had found Suho dying on this desolate moon. She heard the soft sound of scales on metal as Suho joined her. The dragon had to lower its head to fit in the human-sized space. You are troubled, Suho observed through the translator. Just thinking, Jiwan replied. When we found you, we were just a small research team. Now we're about to lead a mission that could change the galaxy. Your species is young, Suho's words appeared on the screen. But you possess something rare. Other species call it stubbornness or foolishness. I call it hope. The dragon extended one massive wing, curving it around Jiwan like a protective shield. When all others saw only death and waste, you saw possibility. This is why the Kavari visited Earth so often in ancient times. We sensed this quality in your ancestors, even when they were still learning to make fire. The next morning, the massive ship hovered above the research station. It gleamed silver in the starlight, its name displayed prominently on the hull. Hope's Guardian in both human language and Kavari symbols. The research team boarded first, followed by representatives from 12 species. Suho entered last, the Yamo, special bay designed for the dragon's size opening to receive its massive form. As the ship prepared to depart, a message arrived from the Galactic Council. It was brief but historic. The Council hereby recognizes the official partnership between humanity and the Kavari species. This alliance marks a new chapter in galactic history. Jiwan took her place on the bridge next to Captain Dojun. Beyond the view screen, stars beckoned. Somewhere among them, ancient dragons slept, waiting to be awakened. Course set for the Altair system, Dojun announced. Our first potential Kavari sanctuary. Jiwan felt Suho's presence in her mind, a new form of communication they had only recently discovered. Ready? She asked silently. The dragon's response was warm with certainty. With humans who refuse to walk away, I am ready for anything. The great ship powered up its engines and leapt into the darkness, carrying hope to the stars.